Matt Mcgloin is a part of the New York Guardians, who are currently 1-1. But so last game, Mcgloin started off the game throwing 8 for 19 with 44 yards, and he threw 2 interceptions. And just to give you a little bit of an insight of who this quarterback is, he's a former Penn State quarterback, and he also played for the Eagles as well. And so the Guardians actually decided to bench Mcgloin at halftime, and Mcgloin decided to say right before halftime, after he threw an interception to ESPN, that we need to change this entire game plan. And he even alluded to the different issues on the offense and calling the group's first half output embarrassing. And so at the end of the second quarter, the Guardians trailed the defenders 12-0. And during the conversation on the sideline, Mcgloin just didn't want to name any names while he criticized teammates' understanding of the offense. And it was just very interesting to see what the coach's reaction was to it. And the coach decided to say, Mcgloin just needs to play better. And so after this all went down, and really the whole embarrassment of Matt Mcgloin and his comments all over ESPN, we've seen it for the past 2 days.
Right.
One, do we see him as a starting quarterback for the New York Guardians this next week? And two, could this be the end of Matt Mcgloin in the XFL?
I mean, the possibility of him starting next week is definitely there, only because they've had all this time to prep and have Matt Mcgloin as their starting QB. But it depends on how the coach and the association handle this, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely him starting next week. I could see it go either way. I could definitely see him starting just because he's clearly the better QB on the team.
Right.
But I could also see him not starting because he just called out his whole team for not playing so well and called out his coaching staff for not, calling the right plays and whole nine. It's just, this is why I think the XFL is going to be good, because we are having this kind of conversation where this player's had an outburst on field during the interview, and they said maybe what was on their mind. Maybe they shouldn't have said it, but that's what they were thinking. So I think it's definitely good.
And, this really does give Matt Mcgloin the reputation, in my opinion, for the rest of his NFL career, that he is not a guy who will lead, and he's not a guy who will make sacrifices for his team. And he's not really even a team player. And that was one of the biggest things and one of the biggest takeaways that I took away from when ESPN covered this, is that if even if he did get an NFL chance after this,
right,
or even if an NFL team was considering him whatsoever, that's going to be the first thing that they look at and that they think about is his leadership skills and his willingness to take risks and do it all for the team.
Yeah, if this is going to be the XFL is going to be the bridge league to the NFL, it's going to be interesting. They're going to bring up these interviews and say, why'd you say this? Why would you call your team out like this? This isn't what a leader does. It's going to be, if some of these players want to go from the NFL, from the XFL, it's going to be, these interviews are definitely going to be something that's brought up. It's going to be one of the first things that the coaches bring up and say, why would you say this? What made you say that? Sort of thing. I like it.